on how to create a GX code file with for the assignment on the dice. You will also be needing to know this skill in order to print your projectile, which is the final projectile assignment in this module. So pay close attention and make sure you understand how it works. Okay, so first of all, you should have already created an STL file. I saved mine onto my desktop for convenience. If it's not on your desktop, it could be possibly in your downloads folder in your Finder, which would be right here, and you just need to make sure that you have access to that in order to do it. Okay, the software that you need will be in your Launchpad. And you have to do this on the lab. You won't have this software on your laptops. So you've got to get the STL file to a lab computer in my room. Okay, so the software you need is going to be FlashPrint 5. It's this one right here. I have it on my shortcuts menu right there. If you'd like, you can put yours there as well, but otherwise you'll find it in the Launchpad. Go ahead and launch that software. When it launches, just so you know, mine, I've launched it before, but the first time you launch it, it's going to ask you two things that I'm not going to be able to show you here. First, it's going to ask you if you want to update the software. Just skip this version. It'll have an option to skip the version. We don't have the permissions to update the software, so I just tell it to skip it every time. Okay, and then the second thing it's going to ask you is what 3D printer we're using. And again, I wish I could show it to you right now, but basically you need to select from the list of 3D printers the Creator Pro 2 3D printer. If you don't, then you will not be able to print this file or your file, and so make sure that you select the correct one. Okay, once you've done that, it'll open this screen that we're looking at right here. I'm going to make this a short tutorial. There's definitely going to be more in-depth things that you would need to know and understand, but for our purposes, I'm just going to make it quick and easy. So first of all, I'm just going to drag and drop my dice onto the screen. You'll notice right there is the dice. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see it there. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is tell it what size you want. By default, this comes in millimeters, so I like to change it to inches, and then tell it what size it's supposed to be. So if you remember, we drew it as a 2.5. Now, if this uniform scaling button is checked, it's going to change the size for both the X, Y, and Z axis equally. And so since it's checked, I'm just going to push enter, and you'll notice that that is the size that we drew it in Fusion 360 or in Fusion 360. Now, if you're actually wanting to print this file, I only want you to don't print a dice any more than 1 inch, maybe even 0.5 or 0.75 would be the largest, probably 0.5, let's go with 0.5 would be the largest dice that I want you to print. And you're welcome to print 2 of them if you like. You can do a red one or a black one and a white one. Anyway, we can talk about that in class. Okay, once you have got the file ready to go, it's time to slice it. And this is the step that you have to do before going to the 3D printer. So when I click Start Slicing, it brings up a menu. To keep this simple, you just need to remember that this standard is selected and then tell it to slice. For more advanced stuff, you can look into more stuff. Okay, once it's sliced, you'll notice that it looks a little bit different. I'm going to click on this preview, and you can see the dice and how it's going to print. Here's a little timeline, and so I can go from the beginning. It'll start by doing that. The next layer up will be that, and it shows you every layer that it's going to do prior to finishing the print. So that's kind of fun. But what I need is this GX file. So I need to download this file now that I've created it to my desktop, just like we did in Fusion 360. We downloaded the STL file. Now we need to download this GX file. So I'm going to click on download. By default, it may want to go to your downloads folder. Since I've done this before, it defaulted to the desktop, and I'm just going to keep it Dan's Dice. I'm going to click save. Okay, at that point you're ready to close this, and it always asks if you want to save it. Well, it didn't ask me if I want to save it, but you don't need to save that file. All you need is this GX file, which we already exported. And so this is the file that it will accept in Canvas if it's a .gx file. It won't accept any other file type but that. So you've got to have the correct file type in order to complete this assignment. And by the way, this GX code is now ready to put right on an SD card and print it. So that's how you print anything that you design. Okay, good luck.